team. And in the process of putting together that team, D-Man was like, Joe, I got some people for you. You know, he started bringing people, you know, from the hood. And he was like, man, bro, I'm going to get Cadillac. I didn't know who Cadillac was at the time. So I'm like, okay. He's like, man, he who from Northwestern. So I'm like, he who from Northwestern. Go out, look. I say, oh, Jitim Young. So I'm like, Joe, you finna get him to hoop with us? He's like, yeah. Man, this dude came over there and he brought like two or three other Northwestern starters, and one of them was in the running for Player of the Year if he didn't win Big Ten Player of the Year. You get what I'm saying? So, man, we hooped and we was actually undefeated in that tournament until they stopped it. You know, Chicago, people act crazy, you know, not organized sometimes, but that's the reason why I stopped. But, so, that's how I know. But more to the interview. Cadillac.
Man, be a part of the show. Man, we gonna be in this season, man. It's the best time of the basketball season, man. We get to talk about, man, the game. So, man, I'm excited.
That's dope, man. So, that's how your season?
Yeah, man.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Hey, it's funny because, you know, you talking about how, we was playing back in the day and all the pro-ams and stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, I get to watch these shorties, and it's like basketball is in good hands, especially in Chicago, because I'm watching these kids. I'm seeing, like, a lot of the guys that we grew up watching in these kids playing and how they loving the game, growing up playing the game of basketball. So, you know, it's good, man. Shout out to Jimmy Sanders. What great they were retiring his jersey. He had a tournament at Collins High School with the 8th graders that was phenomenal. And then I was at DL this weekend for another 8th tournament. Man, Beasley, all these different schools, man, they produce what we produce here in Chicago, and that's great basketball.
That's dope, man. And you know what? It's time for Chicago basketball to get that recognition that they deserve, man, because we done had a lot of good hoopers come out of Chicago, man. I mean, you one of them. You, Amari Sawyer. Who else? Corey Maggette. I mean, just to name a small few. You say what?
Quentin Richardson.
Man, Quentin Richardson, you know, Dwayne Wade.
Right.
Man, we didn't have. It's just about time that we get put on the forefront, because me personally, I believe Chicago is the mecca of basketball, not New York, man.
Yeah, man. You know, it's funny because, like, you know, for the audience that's listening, if you're familiar with me or you might not really, you know, I'm Jitim Young. I'm Blaq. I grew up on the west side of Chicago, right off Pulaski Road, Pulaski and Congress. Went to Delano Tech. Was an All-American Gordon Tech. They changed Paul Prep now. It's called DePaul College Prep. It's gonna always be Gordon Tech to me. I played at Northwestern. Was first team All Big Ten. Big Ten player of the year. I was running up to Devin Harris.
Before you keep going, you being too modest, man. Your freshman year at Northwestern, man, you was one of the top 5 freshmen in scoring. Come on now, Tim.
Yeah, for sure.
Come on now, Tim. Quit saying that you did Northwestern Gordon Tech, man. I forgot to run. I was going to run down your stats and everything else, man, but come on, quit being modest, man. Run down that real record, man.
Hey, man, you know what, man? Like during my time in college, man, I was the best guard in the country, and had I had a little bit more help at Northwestern, man, I should have been like a lottery easy.
You know you should have.
I got to play 10 years professional basketball, and just like what we do, we talk about basketball. We use our social media outlets and you know, like get me on the Big Ten Network and you know, ESPN Chicago, a lot of different places where I talk about that. But you know, it's always good to, man, you know, have my homie where I can come on here and we could just really let loose about how we feeling.
It's gonna be a good show. It's gonna be a good, man. And I'm glad you're gonna be on the entire season. But just at Gordon Tech, his senior year, the man averaged 23, 7, and 6. You know, his senior year at Gordon Tech, and before then, his junior year, you averaged 18, 6, and 5. Come on, man, those good high school numbers, man. And then you stepped it up on the next level at Northwestern. You know what? I was actually shocked that you didn't get drafted, man. Like, seriously. I was actually shocked at the motherfucker, because to me, you had the strength, you had the determination, but you also have a good basketball IQ. You get what I'm saying? So that's one of the things that I'm like, hold on, man. You see all these other players get in, then you look like, you know, well, maybe the field was just too big at the time, you know. Maybe something else is just calling, but I was actually kind of, and that's one thing I talk about, you know, as I pause the beat. you know, as I paused the interview, that's another thing. We had a lot of players, basketball players in Chicago that got looked over because of size, you know, or you know, and a bunch of different type of things. And Jitim was one of them. He had a solid size, good basketball IQ. You know, I don't know. And I asked him that. You know, like, what you think? And this is what he had. I'm mad that you didn't make it, man. I was mad at you and a few other people I know that I play basketball that didn't make it, man.
Yeah, I mean, you know, because it's funny when I was going through that whole NBA process, and I got to I got to play summer league. I got to go to a vet camp. Vet camp is what we call season. It's like when you watch the preseason NBA. And I actually got signed. I was with San Antonio, Chicago, and Phoenix. Mm-hmm. I ended up signing a contract. I was going down to the D League. You know, came up on a couple of things. Actually, ended up going overseas a lot. You know, and that was that process. But one thing I learned about basketball during that time that I didn't know coming out of high school is kind of the politics game. And what I did at Northwestern, how I did it at any other school, it would have been hands down, like nothing to talk about. I would have easily been a top 10 pick.
Do you still got it?
Oh yeah, you know, I've been doing the USA basketball 3-on-3 for the past 4 years. Representing the United States playing 3-on-3 basketball around the world and in the States, and you know, it's really competitive, and it keep me, you know, in the game and stuff. You know, what we got, man, like basketball is in me, man. It was a gift. It's happening, and I'm always do this, man. It's something that doesn't go away.
We're on the phone with Jitim Young right here on Big Ten Sports Talk Radio. Down his resume, that very impressive resume that he have from high school through college on to the pros and everything, man. I'm just glad you're on the phone, man. You took the time out today, but we're going to talk NBA basketball. Now, I'm going to pause the interview, you know, because the other part, we was talking about the Bulls. We're going to play that later on down the line, but that was Jitim Young, you know, just discussing, like, Chicago basketball and everything. What you think of the interview so far?
I mean, it was real, and it had some real dope shit in there. One thing, you know, we was talking about offline about why certain players not made in the NBA or something like that. Man, it's damn near what's the odds of just being in the NBA? I forget, man. It's like 3%, but you can see a guy and think he's special. And then there's other guys out there who might be slightly better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Sometimes it comes out. And then another thing, like you mentioned, is politics in sports. So it could have been a lot of politics in sports, you know. So, and I mean, Chicago bred some like I say, I keep saying this, some of the best basketball players. Seriously, some of the best we have. You know, and I don't think that Chicago basketball right now is getting the recognition, but I don't think it gets the recognition that it deserves.
You believe that?
No. See, look, one thing we talked about on there, they say New York is the mecca of basketball. I don't think so.
Thomas, Aguirre, Cummings.
I think Chicago is the mecca of basketball.
Hardaway.
Now, I'm going to say Chicago. I'm going to say Illinois so we can expand the field, because you got to throw Sean Livingston in there. One of my other favorite point guards, Franklin's from down there in Peoria, Emmanuel, him, Sergio McClain, that Illinois team. Not to mention the next round over, you had D. Brown. So we ain't gonna just say Chicago, we just gonna say Illinois. Not to mention Shannon Brown. You know,
Corey Maggette.
Yeah, Corey Maggette. You know, so what? Talk, say it.
Whitney Young.
Quentin Richardson. He mentioned that too, like Quentin Richardson, you know. So, I mean, we have put out there, and especially in like the 90s and 2000s, Illinois has put out there some very, very good quality basketball players. Got Iguodala, Illinois. He's a champion. You get what I'm saying? So, I mean, we done put some quality players out there, man.
And when they say New York, I mean maybe a handful of players. Maybe because I'm from here, I don't know. But I can't name as I even name them all, you know, like Davis, then Rose. Anderson played Orlando. Bynum, Will Bynum.
You can even put Eddie Curry out there.
Yeah, I mean he played.
I mean, Chicago didn't have some basketball players, man.
Patrick Beverly.
Yeah, Patrick Beverly. You got,
Tony Allen.
Tony Allen. What was the guy that went with the Kansas? Sharon Collins. Sharon Collins was nice. His size stopped him. That's the only thing that stopped Collins was his size.
You say that size though, man, but I didn't see guys like Nate Robinson be able to play in the NBA though. I don't, you know, how these other guys get overlooked like that if he was able to play like that.
But we didn't put out some ball players, man, and you know just to see some of them not make it, it's just like, man, it's irritating.
Now I got another question for you since you mentioned that.
What's up?
I understand that Duke, North Carolina, Kansas, all these teams are basically royalty in basketball. I know for a fact these coaches, I'm talking about these coaches, stop these players. Well, not stop these players. The players go, you know, shine wherever they go. But hometown colleges, they don't want them going there. You mentioned Northwestern already, you know, along with the interview.
They got Chris Collins over there now.
DePaul, you know, had Mark Aguirre at one time. I think he's about to be the head coach over there too.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. But I think it was around probably the late 80s and going into the 90s, they stopped them from going over there. And I mean, we decent, but we got superstars going to the colleges and turning these programs around.
So Mark Aguirre's going to be at DePaul now?
Yeah.
That's going to be good, man. And that's going to be good for DePaul because he can open up a pipeline too. You know?
That's the thing, though. Like I say, you can deal with these public league coaches. And a lot of them, we all know how that works, you know what I'm saying, financially, whatever. But they want their players to be on TV all the time.
Right.
And I understand that. But I'm like, if you can turn the program around like DePaul used to be and have that player that does that.
They'll be on TV all the time. Because DePaul was always on TV all the time in the 80s and the 90s.
And get them to be in the tournament more consistently. Like you just mentioned, Sergio McClain, Brown, Darren Williams when they were in Illinois. Everybody started watching them because they started winning and they went to the final championship game. I just more of that with some of these town schools we got.
Hopefully, man, the tradition has changed because a lot of our players do need to stay in state. They do need to stay in Illinois and pump more of our state basketball because we do got some top quality, top notch players night in and night out. You can just turn on the TV and look at the NBA game and you're going to see somebody, at least about 3 to 4 players from Illinois on that team. Not Illinois to college, but, you know, Illinois to state on that team. So, I mean, that's one thing we talked about, and, you know, that's one thing that always bothered me. Like, you know, why these players always just leave? But more with that. Let's go to the rest of the interview with Jitim Young. Now, these Bulls, what you think about them this year?
The Bulls?
Yeah, give your honest assessment.
I think they're a college team in the NBA. That's what it is. I mean, it's facts. You know, you got Denzel Valentine. The man was a player of the year. The man, like, he handles the ball, he rebounds. He made great decisions. Tom Izzo really molded him. And the way Berg is playing him, I'm like, I see this kid playing college. And even like and then it's not even so like how they play Denzel Valentine. It's like you let Zipser handle the ball and make all these decisions, and he's terrible. And you got a guy that was bred in a program like the Michigan State Spartans who actually did that.
Right.
And was player of the year on a high level. All right, and you won't let him do what you do for 4 years in college. That's what bothers me about.
All right, so he said that one thing that bothers him is that Berg doesn't utilize Valentine well. or as much?